Complete with man bag.
So this man bag, what's everyone's verdict? Because I quite like it's very practical for travelling and everything else. Your passport's there, wallet, phone charger, sunglasses. But I don't know, we're on the fence. What do you think? Man purse, do we like it or not? Man purse.
It's somewhere between.
It's better than a bum bag.
It's somewhere between a purse and a bum bag.
Or a fanny pack.
Yeah. I've got to say, with this brown padded jacket and that you have
it's green actually.
It's a little bit of a bird watcher. Is anyone else getting that?
I've been out with my shotgun today, shooting pigeons.
Yeah. It's gonna look like we had some binoculars. It'd be even more sinister than you.
Well, we are from the Fens, to be fair. That wouldn't be a question for us.
No, I'm from Norfolk. You're from there.
Which is even worse than the Fens, surely.
I'm from Norfolk, the hotbed of pro wrestling stars in the United Kingdom.
Oh, okay. New page. All right. Yeah. Okay.
Thank you, sweetheart.
I was like, I feel like I was sat at the back, and people can't really see. Are we okay sat here? We don't need to stand up, do we?
Well, this
guy is white in my face.
We've got the light here riding us with a nice little bit of face.
Okay. So hello everyone, by the way. How is everyone? Wake up! Come on! Hey! Wrestling! This is awesome! Come on! Show some life for crying out loud! Bloody hell! What's wrong with you lot, hey? It's a Thursday night.
Will you be appearing at Progress this Sunday? I mean, it's a silly question.
I shall be. I'm the greatest Progress Wrestling champion of all time. I'm the only two-time champion, the only man to defend the belt all over the world, actually. Yes.
Yes. Speaking of all over the world, you've been heading over to my side of the Atlantic for quite a few more trips than usual lately. I mean, we have to talk about your most well-known exploit, which was, of course, Bowler.
Whoa!
Battle of Los Angeles.
Everyone's like, why you got a bowler? What happened to him?
The bowling.
The Battle of Los Angeles, yes. What about it?
Well, you did all right.
Yes, well, of course.
You had quite a good outing.
Yes. So, for those of you who don't know what the Battle of Los Angeles is, actually, who knows of PWG here? About one person. Brilliant. So one person knows who I am. Fantastic.
I saw some faint hands.
There we go.
Waving.
So, Pro Wrestling Guerrilla, I guess one of the biggest independent wrestling companies in the world. But the unique thing about PWG is it's done in a room probably 2 or 3 times the size of this, and that's it. It's a ring with fans and a little hall, a little dingy hall, and that's it. Okay, there's no glitz and glamour, nothing whatsoever. So everything is purely based on what the boys do in the ring.
Well, and Sofia Vergara was there once.
There's been a few girl wrestlers, but not many.
No, Sofia Vergara.
Who?
The actress. She was there, right?
Oh, was she? Yeah,
that's
it. Well, that's the other thing. It's in California, so there's some natives as well. Ronda Rousey was there the same night that Holly Holm was fighting on UFC, and I was like, why is she watching me run around my pants trying to be a wrestler?
Ronda Rousey was there?
Ronda Rousey was there. And funny story, actually. So she's friends with Roderick Strong's girlfriend, and I'm quite pally of Roddy. So I was like, Roddy, Ronda Rousey's out there. Do you think I can get a picture of her? He's like, probably not. Sorry, man. I was like, what do you mean not? She's watching me wrestle.
I remember when those of you who don't know, Marty and I go way back to the days when lovely Frank Reimer, bless his heart. Shout out to Frank Reimer.
Is he here?
No. I remember him coming up to me and saying, Nick, would you mind giving young Martin a lift to the school every week? He's a good lad. He's from Cambridge, and I remember me and Jimmy, our friend Jimmy Starr, we remember looking at each other going, oh fuck, we got to fucking take this
little dweeb.
And he has his little silver jacket and his silver pants.
Yeah. But the thing is funny though, because I look back and I think like, I started training when I was 14 years old, right? So I've been involved almost half my life. Do you know what I mean? Like, when I was 14 years old, not going to go into my childhood and everything else, but my parents had divorced and everything else. I was barely I wasn't a grown up. Do you know what I mean? So I had to grow up in, well, you're the same as me, having to grow up in the wrestling business is quite a traumatic thing. Do you know what I mean? Like it's quite a lot to ask of anyone.
Well, I don't think you really grow up till you
Well, no.
into your mid to late 20s.
No, I agree. Absolutely.
You know, having
You're not in your 40s.
as I'm about to turn 30 in a couple of weeks. It's like I think I look back and go, geez, like I must have been such a headache because like, so much of my early career, especially, I was just a kid, just sort of like not only trying to navigate like the Shark Tank of pro wrestling, but just trying to navigate turning into a man. And it's like you know, you do see in a lot of the weird stuff that happens with wrestlers in there, you know, when you hear about some of the sort of crazy stuff and you go, how does someone do something like that? You know, but it is easy because you don't know any better. You're learning life, and you have to learn from mistakes.
And that's the thing. It works both ways. I mean, getting involved so early at such a young age, it's great. In, you know, in the fact that you're going to end up being a young veteran, which you probably could say, you know, about either of us, and you get that experience. But also at the same time, all those mistakes that you make when you're younger, you're making in wrestling. Do you know what I mean? Which is a slight pain.
Well, I can certainly relate to that. Whereas a lot of the sort of teething problems I had, like anyone does when they're sort of finding themselves. Mine, you know, most people it happens on the independents, or most of mine was happening on television. You know, it's a different thing. You know, because then you come back and it's like you did this wrong, you did that wrong, and you go, oh, and the whole world saw it. Oh, okay. Sorry.
No, that's very true.
Speaking of television, you recently signed with a certain company by the name of Ring of Honor.
Simon CZ, Ring of Honor, yeah.
Whoop it up for Marty signing with Ring of Honor. I saw the vignettes that they started. What's next on your ROH agenda?
So, debut for Ring of Honor on the UK tour, outfitting, which is actually in like 2 or 3 weeks' time, actually. See, with wrestling being so hot at the moment, you know, there's so many different options and companies to go for, and you know, I've always been, you know, I have been on TV, but it's never been my thing. I've become known as a wrestler, you know, through independent wrestling, and I think, you know, the whole internet, or social media and everything else has made it possible to become known. You know, from independent wrestling. A few weeks ago, I was wrestling in Australia, and everyone knew who I was. I'm like, I've never been on TV in Australia. I mean, it's insane. You know what I mean? So, you know, I've always, you know, been firmly on the independents, and now it's strange. It's come to a point where there's so many different options and so many different places where I could go. But I was having this conversation, I think, with James earlier. Someone, I was saying how doing the indies is fantastic. I love it. I love wrestling. I love being my own boss. Like the whole reason we're all wrestlers, the main reason, one of the perks is that you get, you know, you just do what you want. You have to work for someone. It's not a real job. Do you know what I mean? Like, I'm doing what I want to do. But the thing with doing the indies is you can kind of get into like, not a rut, but just, you know, you can do the kind of same shtick for a while and everything else. And yeah, you know, you turn up, you do your match, that's great. And it's like, oh, you're the best. And you sell some pictures and it's great. But, you know, I felt more and more so recently I wanted to grab something, you know, really get my teeth into and, you know, work with something. So, you know, I thought it was time to go somewhere. And Ring of Honor to me, I had like a few different offers, but Ring of Honor to me just seemed like the best fit for me for right now. Not necessarily for forever, but certainly right now. I was always a big fan of Ring of Honor, you know, even as a teenager. And for me personally, I think it suits my style. Like, I'm one of the stupid wrestlers that actually enjoys doing 20-minute matches or 30-minute matches. Like, my favorite wrestlers growing up, you know, Bret Hart and those guys, Rey Mysterio, Eddie Guerrero, those kind of guys. Later on, you know, Daniel Bryan. I always kind of model myself after those guys, you know, I enjoy that. And what excites me about Ring of Honor is I feel like it's a company I can go to and I can potentially help grow, do you know what I mean? Like, I'm not going to go into names, but there's a number of companies in America that are offering out stuff to British guys, but Ring of Honor only approached one British guy and I was like, well, that makes me stand out straight away, do you know what I mean? So I figured I could go there and I can make an impact, and that for me I feel happy doing that. Do you know what I mean? So I think it's a good suit. I know all the guys there pretty well, and we'll see how it goes. I guess.
Yeah,
I'm excited.
And obviously their ties with New Japan are obviously quite a significant sort of selling point for them too. And I mean, I've seen the sort of the genesis of the villain character, and it's sort of blossomed into what it is today. I feel like Japan's going to eat that up. So
I hope so.
Is that a big milestone for you next on the agenda?
Well, I work for Rev Pro, who have a working relationship in Japan. Now I'm going to start with Ring of Honor. They have a working relationship with New Japan, so I feel like New Japan, even if they want me, they'll feel like, oh god, your mic's going to charge, surely. No, I've never been to Japan, and like I said, on one side of me, I feel like I am obviously an entertainer, but I always love the guys that could tell that story in the ring, with their ring work. Whether it's a Bret Hart or Daniel Bryan, or even the old British guys like a Jim Breaks or Mark Rocco, that just made me, I don't know, I don't think I'll ever be a guy that would be happy just doing 4-minute TV matches. I know a lot of guys would love it, and I can do it, and it can be great, of course, but I don't know, it's just something about the body of work for me is really important. I want to have matches that people watch back and go, oh, that was amazing, and that made me inspire me to do something, whatever it is. Again, that's not for everyone. Where was I going with this again? The question. Japan. So yeah, and I do think in terms of Japan, they can take me one way or the other, but it's heavily based on in-ring style. So I feel like that would be a great place to go. And like I said, you know your heroes, you watch them do Japan, they do great. You just want to follow in their footsteps.
Yeah, well, the world is getting much smaller in wrestling now. I mean, I was just talking to Bull about this, and I was like, I haven't wrestled in the States for a couple of months. I've wrestled here, Germany, next I got Australia, then China, and before that Japan.
That's another thing, just traveling as well.
Like you said before, with the going to Australia and people recognise you, whatever. That sort of thing to me normally never wears off of that. When you go to a country and you can't even read the signs, and yet you always that. I don't know whether it's that. It's the sort of insecurity that all performers have a little bit of, but you have that fear that not a single person's going to know who you are, and then even one person knowing who you are in a foreign country, it just has a sort of profound effect.
Yeah. Funny story actually. So I was in Australia, Melbourne, wrestling there a few weeks ago, and I was only doing 2 days there, but I tried to stay there as long as I could, which was 6-7 days. Anyway, it turns out that a girl I used to go to university with, she lives there now, and she's very, very pretty. So I messaged her, do you want to meet up for a drink? Yeah, cool. So we met up for a drink, met up for a drink next to the river, having a drink. Our waiter comes over, he serves us, and he stops us and goes, hang on mate, excuse me, are you Marty Scrull? And I was like, yes I fucking am. And he's like, can I get a picture right? Yeah, right. So she takes a picture and then he goes off, and I'm thinking, bloody hell, I've just been recognised in Melbourne, Australia. She's like, oh my god, you've been recognised. I'm like, yeah, I mean, it happens all the time, wherever I go. Just kind of where I roll,
I'm so sorry.
Oh, it's so embarrassing. Oh, I wish you just leave me alone,
I'll tell you about a little similar stunt I pulled in Japan recently. We did a show at not the Tokyo Dome, but at one of the halls inside the Tokyo Dome. It's like the Tokyo Dome City Hall, about 3,000. It's a really good house, and it was a fun event. And I was when you do shows there at you stay at the Tokyo Dome Hotel, so you don't have to get on a bus or anything. You just walk across the concourse. So we're walking across the concourse, and the office, the Japan office, the IDF office are probably about 50 yards behind me, and I'm sort of walking across, and there's this group of teenage girls outside the hotel.
Baby metal.
And I start walking over, and they're crying. These girls are crying, and they wanted a picture and stuff. And I was like, this is so weird, I've never experienced this. But then I turned around and I saw that the office was like too far away and they couldn't see.
You're like, come on!
So I cheekily just played on my phone for a couple of minutes until they made their way over, and then I was like,
Wow.
oh, hi guys. And then, so then I was like, oh, those girls crying. And they're crying and they see you. I was like, oh,
Did say
yeah.
single hustles,
Wow.
right? Yeah.
Everything's at work.
Yeah.
All right, this has been fun. Ladies and gentlemen, give it up for Marty Scrull.
Woo!